Once upon a time, there were 4 friends: happiness, sadness, anger, and fear. They called themselves the emotions. Happiness was the one that held the whole group together. He cared for the whole group and brought some light on a dark day. But happiness was a little insecure and sometimes a bit shy. Did he really belong in the group? Happiness sometimes thought. He felt so different sometimes. If only the others in the group would tell him that he was so appreciated. But whatever happens, happiness will never leave the group. He will always be there. Maybe sometimes a bit in the background, but he is there. On great days, happiness laughs out loud and feels he can fly. Then we have anger. Anger liked to defend the whole group from danger. She liked action and she liked noise. And anger loved the storm. But anger also needed the others in the group to remind her to be gentle and sometimes to be a bit quiet. That is also what anger appreciated from her friends. Anger would want her friends to tell her more often that she was sometimes just a bit too much. Then we have fear. Fear always likes to run away from the group. Fear cannot sit still. He always thinks that nobody is to be trusted and overthinks everything he comes across. Fear likes happiness as a friend. Happiness always gives fear a hug when he feels like running away, and then it all feels better. It melts all the ice that fear collects when it freezes. But fear is a funny one. He is also attracted to sadness and anger sometimes, running from one to the other. But in the end, he belongs to happiness, the one that makes fear calm. Finally, we have sadness. Sadness loves the rain and is the most introvert of the group. Though she is a part of the group, she always feels alone. And she likes to pull the others in her loneliness too. But anger and happiness do not let that happen. Happiness always tries to make sadness laugh, and anger shakes up sadness' world and teaches her how to fight. Sadness feels then in balance and not out of control. This group of friends are best when they are its equal. When the competition between them grows, that can mean trouble. Happiness is a natural leader. When he takes his responsibility, then we are fine. But when anger, fear, or sadness want to lead, the group can fall apart. All these changes, how to adapt? This is where the next door neighbor sees her chance to talk to the friends. The next door neighbor is called Stress, and she likes the competition going on. She likes to bring the emotions out of control and watch them struggle to adapt. But there is Love. Love is already very old, and he is the strongest you will see. Love is very special because he also loves himself. He does not only love himself, he also teaches the friends to love themselves. That there does not have to be one stronger than the other. Love clears the sky. Love helps stress to be softer. But you have to believe in love for him to come and then keep the door open for him. Because love only works when you open your arms and let Him do His work. Will there never be trouble? Of course there will be. That is why the emotions, stress, and love are there. But it is important that they all are there, because only then we learn the value of them all. And that is the story of the emotions. It is quite a story to start with, and it is at the core of who we are as humans. A story not to forget. When we are born, we start walking on this road called life. And this road called life is a long road, and this road has ups and this road has downs, and we come across different situations, good or bad. And sometimes the things we experience are exceptional. In 2020, the world experienced something exceptional with the pandemic. For many, it created a mix of emotions. Sadness, anger, fear, but also happiness. All were there. This mix of emotions in an unusual situation can feel very confusing. And for some, it could have felt that they did not have their emotions in control anymore. All these emotions, confusion, and the feeling of having things not in control can make us feel tired. We do our best to process all the information coming in and what we are feeling, and this is not easy for mind and body, so it makes us tired. But the pandemic will not be there forever. At some point, we will have to recover from our global crisis. And this will also cost energy. We will have to adapt. We can certainly do that. So some will happily go through it, but for some, it can also create stress. So what should one do then? The first step is to accept your emotions. Be willing to feel any emotions that are there. When we experience stress, our focus is not always on consciously feeling what is happening inside us. Literally, get in touch with yourself first. So let us do a small exercise. Bring your hand forward like this. Now put your other hand on top of it. Feel the weight of your hand on top of the other hand. Are your hands cold or warm? Feel the touch of every finger consciously on your hand. When was the last time you felt the weight of your hand consciously like this? In the same way, also practice to feel your emotions and that they are present. Very well. So a next step is to go through that process of not only feeling, but also learning and the process of recovering from the crisis. When we know a change is coming, we can do a few things. We can avoid the change, we can run away from the change, we can fight the change, accept the change, or we can go through the change and surf on the waves it creates. Going through change is not always easy. It feels comfortable to stay in the same place. But to recover from a stressful situation, there's also change needed. And if we gently go through it, we will feel better. For example, a family lives in a small apartment. They want to move to a bigger place, a change. But in the end, moving to this bigger place will feel better for them. Practice being full of surprise, wonder, and gratefulness while going through this process. When we are in a state of wonder, we admire the small things. In times of a crisis, becoming aware of the small things that give us joy help us keeping our emotions in place. Two psychologists from Miami who study gratefulness asked the group they were studying to write a few sentences every week. The first 1/3 of the group wrote what they were grateful for. The second 1/3 of the group wrote what irritated them. The third 1/3 of the group, so the last part, wrote neutral about the things that happened in their lives. 10 weeks later, the ones who had expressed gratitude felt happier than the others. And you can also do this as an experiment for yourself. Monitor yourself. Write 1 week about what you were grateful for. Write 1 week about what irritated you. And write 1 week about the happenings in your life in a neutral way. Evaluate what felt best for you. Monitoring your progress is very helpful. Also, keep reflecting and asking yourself questions day by day. Reflecting is having a conversation with yourself, which is also important to do from time to time. So, we need to develop ourselves. We need to adapt. Training your ability to adapt will make that you can handle tough situations in life better and better every time. And this is a continuous process that will keep going on every day. However, it is important to emphasize to take your time, your own time. And that is okay. Before the pandemic happened, a lot of people were always in a rush, running from one place to the other place, being occupied with one or the other thing. When many countries went into a lockdown, some people were forced to be with themselves. While a human connection is very important, being with oneself also teaches the person to deal with time differently. Taking your time to develop yourself can be a great learning because we then keep consciously monitoring and working on ourselves. Recovering from a crisis also needs managing expectations. Manage the expectations in your life. It feels great to look forward to something exciting or to a world where we will be able to do a lot of things like we did before. But when we put expectations there, we can get disappointed. And we can also get tired of waiting for those expectations to become a reality. Become aware of what your expectations are. And sometimes it is very hard to let certain expectations go. But awareness is a first step. Then, is all the managing here in our head? No, of course not. Physical exercise has been more important than ever to maintain our bodies and mental health. And physical exercise has all the effect on our emotions. Often we know some information about maintaining our health. But when does this turn into doing? When we start doing what we learned, that is where the magic happens. And that is when we can feel proud of ourselves. And feeling proud of ourselves, when we are taking care of ourselves, well, I can tell you, that is a great feeling. Let us go back to our friends, the emotions. One thing is sure. Happiness cannot exist without the other emotions. It is a part of life. They all have a useful function. Make a roadmap of your emotions on this journey. Identify them every day and become friends with them. I will end with a story about a boy that I once met when he came in my consultation room with his parents. He was born blind. When his parents came with him, the boy started exploring the table and other things in the consultation room with his hands and with his feet. He crossed my chair and hugged my leg and did not want to let go. "He wants to be your friend," his father said. It taught me that we can experience the world in different ways, but there is something special about companionship. No matter if that is sharing with other people or to be your own companion. It is worth learning to be a companion, especially when we want to recover from a crisis.